Hi everyone, welcome to the series on using Git and Visual Studio Code together. Visual Studio Code has some really neat functionality built into it that allows us to work and interact with Git, and at least at work, it makes my life a lot easier. So I think you'll enjoy being able to follow along and see how things work. So let's get into it. First things first is you need to have Git on your machine. You can go to the Git website, and on their website you can follow the directions for your current operating system. I happen to be on Linux, so the way that I like to do it is through the terminal. I'll open a terminal up here, and I'm on a distribution that is based upon Debian, so I can do sudo apt install git, and there we go. It's on my machine now. All right, great. Now let's get into the Visual Studio Code part of it, because I'm sure that is why you are here. If you click on the little third icon down, it says source control, and it says that you can initialize a repository. And on this video, we will be doing an empty blank repository. We won't be doing something coming from GitHub. In the future, we'll look into that. So you click initialize repository, and now we have a brand new repository. Now you might be wondering, well, what does that mean? And it basically means that the framework to make Git work has now been put onto that directory or folder. And I'll just bring over the window that we're working in here. And you can see that there's this Git folder in here with a period in front of it, which on Linux means it's a hidden folder. But if you go into here, there's branches and hooks and info and objects and refs, and there's all sorts of stuff. And you don't have to worry about any of this. This is just all of the things that Git uses in the background, behind the scenes, to make everything work for you. And when you initialize your repository, this folder will appear. All right. Well, there we go. So, what does the actual repository do? Well, it manages all the changes for us. The example I use is when I was younger and I was programming, and before Git was around and things like that, I would often make an entire copy of the whole folder and make changes, and then if my changes broke things and I had no idea how to fix it, I would delete my current folder and restore that old folder. Basically, I was making snapshots, and that is, in a way, kind of what Git does for you. It doesn't copy the whole folder. It's more intelligent than that, but it basically is making snapshots. So in this next snapshot, we want to include our agenda. And all we have to do is hit this little plus sign here. There's a few options we have. We can discard our changes, which means just throw them away. In the case of this, since it's a brand new file, it will it'll basically delete them off of the system. So we don't want to do that. And then we can open it, which we already have, but let's add it. So we have staged it now. We say we want this file to be in our snapshot. And I'll just say our first file. When we click the commit button, it is now in our repository. So when we come into here, we have our agenda. Now let's say we want to make changes to our agenda and we end up with a bunch of garbage. And you're thinking, oh no, what am I going to do with this? Because you forgot to back up things, right? Well, no, actually you don't have to worry about it. If you click on here, you can see that there is a discard changes. And this will restore your changes back to the previous snapshot. So if I click on that and click discard the changes, everything is back to the way it was in our snapshot. So there you go. This is the very bare bones basics of what you need to do to get started with Git. This is be a local thing only. We'll deal with pushing and pulling in a future video when you're actually working on the network. But if you're just doing some coding at home and you want to make sure that your code is being backed up using different snapshots, this is the way to do it. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video.